So one day, this person reaches out to me on Instagram saying, "Hey, are you interested in making a Sailor Moon duo cosplay?" And I was like, Well, no, at first I was like, oh my god, someone is messaging me offering to make duo cosplay. My dream come true. I always wanted to do something with someone together. So I was like, I don't care what it is. Yes, I'm doing it. But I was like, oh yes, that sounds nice, but I've never seen Sailor Moon, so I don't know. So I just looked at the characters on Google, which seemed most interesting to me. And at the time, I chose Sailor Pluto. Why? Because she has a staff. Look at it. It's gorgeous. And whenever there is a prop that I can make, I'm like, yes, I will cosplay that character because I love props. And then I watched the show as well because I like to cosplay characters from shows that I know and like. And thank God I did actually really enjoy Sailor Moon. I loved Sailor Pluto as a character, so I was really happy with my choice, and that's what I stuck with. As you know, Sailor Moon characters have a million billion different designs, and so for Sailor Pluto, I decided to make a little bit of an original design. Not really, I just combined a lot of elements that I liked from other designs, and this was what I came up with. So the very first thing I did for this cosplay, I made a custom dress form. I covered myself in saran wrap and tape. I cut it open and I stuffed it with a bunch of clothes. This is a really bad dress form. It is so heavy. The tape is not good because you can't stick pins in it properly. So I will remake that someday. But it was actually really useful for this cosplay because the first thing I made was the leotard. I took my newly made dress form, I covered it in tape, I made a tape pattern, and then I cut it out, transferred it to paper, transferred it to fabric, and made my first mock-up, and it actually was pretty nice. Then I made a few other iterations and changed up some things until I came up with the final fit. For this design, I decided I would add some tulle sleeves. I made a quick pattern, eyeballed it, I made it on paper, made a little mock-up. I adjusted that and then I cut it out of tulle and then I sewed the tulle on the leotard. And in the end, I added some snap buttons on the bottom of the leotard. Then came gloves. At first, I don't know why, me as a person making gloves for the first time, I was like, I'm gonna make gusseted gloves. And if you don't know what a gusseted glove is, I don't know either. Like, this is what they look like. Basically, you sew the thumb separately. They have like these fabric pieces in between of the fingers. In short, a very complex way to make gloves. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make that. And I didn't make that. That was so unnecessarily complicated because for these gloves, I could literally just use the sandwich method. I traced my arm onto paper. I pinned that onto fabric. I traced it. I sewed along the lines, cut that out, and it was a really good glove. Like, that was so much easier, and it looked really good in the end anyways. So I don't know why I wanted to go through all of that hassle just to make a more complicated glove that's not even necessary. But the first mistake I made, well, besides trying to make a gusseted glove, was sewing it all in a straight stitch. Gloves need to be stretchy. A straight stitch is not stretchy. So I tried to alter it a bit. I added a zigzag stitch in a few parts and the rest with a straight stitch, but that was still not good enough. So I ended up sewing these parts in a zigzag stitch. The hand I still left at a straight stitch. Probably would have been better to make it whole zigzag stitch, but a zigzag stitch is kind of hard to control, so I ended up doing a straight stitch for the fingers, and it worked nice. The glove did break a few times, but I quickly stitched it up. It wasn't a big deal. The next step for the gloves was making these cuffs. I don't know how my very first attempt turned out the best, because after I tried to recreate it on the final gloves, I just could not make them at all. They came out bumpy, they came out lumpy, ugly, not fitting right, and it was, oh my god, it was a nightmare. I made them so many times, and even the final result, like, it was okay. It was okay. If I would ever remake these gloves, I would definitely make it so that I rolled the white part a little bit into the cuff and sewed it inside so that it doesn't have like the visible part where it's like intersecting the cuff and the glove part. Yeah, but in the end, I made them look pretty nice anyways. Then came the skirt. I watched a lot of videos, I looked up a lot of tutorials and patterns, and I found this really nice guide for how to make a pleated circle skirt. Shout out to this person, I based my whole skirt off from that. So there were a whole lot of measurements you had to do. I felt like some very smart mathematician. Oh my god. I felt like a very smart mathematician doing all of that, but yeah, I made a pattern from newspapers, then I transferred that onto some fabric, I made a mock-up, I made some pleats, and I was like, yes, this works. Very nice, accurate measurements, awesome. Then I transferred that onto my final fabric, and it was nice, it was good, but I don't know why I had a whole lot of excess fabric. Which shouldn't happen, because like I made the measurements accurate and they worked out the first time, and I don't know why I had like this much of extra fabric doing it the next time. But I mean, better to have extra fabric than not enough fabric, so I let that slide. I made the black part of the skirt, I made the white part of the skirt, pleated it, sewed it together, and then I cut out the V shape at the waist. And for the edge of the skirt, I decided to add some horsehair braid to make it more stiff and that it stands up like nice and poofy. I'm not sure if this was the best idea. I mean, it did look really good in the end, but I don't know, the pleats were just really like precise and like sharp, and with the horsehair braid it was kind of tricky, and I don't know. I'm not sure if this was the right method to do it, but I mean, it looked good, so I really wanted to make an invisible stitch for the horsehair braid, but the white fabric was way too thin, and either way, like it was a whole lot of mess to deal with. It was not worth it. I just straight stitched over it and it looked good. Like there was no problem with that. And then lastly, for the skirt, I made this edge around it, this type of belt. I just used the fabric that I had and sewed that on, and this is how it looked in the end. I also added a little star for my design there. All of the bows, they are made with a pretty simple pattern. They're all kind of this rectangular shape. It was a lot of work, but they are essentially pretty easy to do. I made those, I made the tails of the bows and sewed those on to the bow itself so that they stood up nicely. For the big bow on the back, I wanted to make these type of tails. I'm not sure what they're called because I only saw one YouTube video call them waterfall tails. Because wherever else I typed that, I did not find that design. So I'm not sure what they're called, but they look like this. And I was like, yes, I want those for my big bow. Because we were planning to make a transformation outfit for this performance. For me, it wasn't a big transformation. I just added wings and a longer bow, but still. So for the long bow, I copied a pattern like this. I made it from newspapers. It wasn't really how I wanted it, so I like messed around with it for a very long time until I figured out how I wanted to look. So this is the pattern that I ended up with having. I traced that onto fabric, I cut it out, I sewed it up, I ironed it, and it was beautiful. But there was a problem. I ran out of fabric at this point. So no big deal, right? I'll go back, I'll buy some more fabric. So the thing is, I'm sewing all of this at home, and I live and study in the city, which is another city, and that's like an hour drive away. So during the week, I stayed there. I went there. I forgot to take a fabric sample, so I was going off from pictures in my phone where the lighting is very hard to understand the colors, and I was like, okay, I'll just try to remember. And the thing with Sailor Pluto is she has different color bows at every image that you look. One image she has very red bows. One image she has very brown bows. Another image she has these reddish brown bows. So the fabric that I had was actually pretty brown. But in my mind, I was like, oh, it's like reddish brown. So I went to the fabric store and I got a reddish brown fabric, and then I went back to my dorms and I was like, oh, that is not the right shade. So next day I had to go and buy some more. Basically, I will let Instagram story Maddie tell you about how that whole thing went. I was thinking of making a video when I get home about the ridiculous situation that happened. And this situation got even more ridiculous. Basically, yesterday I was on a supply run for my cosplay. I got a bunch of stuff and fabrics because I ran out of fabrics and I forgot to take a fabric sample. So I was going off from the image in my head. And I bought the fabric and I went back to my dorms and I was like, frick, that is the wrong color. So today I had to go and buy it again. And I was looking at my pictures that I had of the previous fabric and I couldn't tell because the lighting was off and it looked kind of the same and kind of not the same. So I bought it and I'm hoping that it is the same, and I put it up to the other fabric that I bought yesterday and they're the same color. I got the same wrong color twice. But now I'm at home, so I'm actually gonna check. Maybe I got the right one. I'm praying. So I got the fabric. No, it is completely different. This is what I needed. This is what I got. Oh my god. Well, on the bright side, now I got enough fabric to remake all of the bows. Because I was thinking, okay, I'll just have to remake the bows. But then I would need extra fabric. So I'm hoping this is the right fabric so I don't need to remake it. So I only have to finish it. But yeah, no, I actually have to remake them. But at least I have enough fabric for that. Don't be like me. Don't be dumb. If you ran out of fabric, take a sample with you. No, anyways. So yeah, now I had a whole lot of wrong shaded fabric, which was great. The good thing though was I had enough of the previous fabric to finish the back bow, as in just make the regular bow with the short tails, and that I did. So what I did have to do was completely remake the long bow. I remade the bow itself and I completely remade the tail. So I had a front bow in this like brown shade and then a back bow in this like red brown shade. It was probably not very noticeable, but it still irked me that happened, but oh well. Remember to take fabric samples if you run out of your fabric. Don't be like me. So for the collar, I also looked around on some tutorials and some guides, and I made this kind of shape. It looks kind of like a bag. So I made a mock-up of that. I tried it out. I adjusted it a bit. And this is the final one that I came up with. I basically just did some bag lining. Sew that together. I made my own bias tape from the white fabric that I had. I sewed that on and it looked really nice. Around this time, I also decided to do my first tryout of the whole outfit. I put on the leotard, the skirt, the collar, the bows. I just pinned them on, and I also put on the gloves. And oh my god, it looked so good. This was the first time seeing it all together, and I was like, wow. I've made an outfit. I was really excited how it's turning out. taking into account that this is like my first proper sewing experience. Like, yes, I made a bit for Vibe before, but like this time I was sewing. Like most of the cosplay was sewing. So I was so happy with just seeing how far I've come and knowing myself how comfortable I was with a sewing machine at this point. So I realized that really the only, well, not the only, but a really good way to learn how to sew and get over your fear of sewing is just pick a project and start working on it. You might not be perfect at sewing at first, but at least you have a project to work on, you have a goal that you want to reach. Because before I was like, oh, if I want to start sewing, I'll just have to practice and make these random projects that I'm not interested in, and just like blah, 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 blah. And that sounds boring and I don't want to do that. So me actually finding a cosplay that I'm interested in a project and a goal in mind, that's how I learned how to sew. I'm not claiming I know how to sew, but I've gotten really comfortable with the sewing machine, and like, there's so many tutorials online on different techniques and on different garments, how to make them. So the sewing community is great. There's so much to learn from there. So if you are still scared of starting to sew, don't be. There is all the resources in the world out there for you to help. I suggest just pick a project, just pick a character, a cosplay that you want to do, and start doing it. And that way you will learn. That's how I learned. That's how I've gotten much more comfortable with sewing, and it's really great. Sewing is an amazing and a very necessary skill for cosplay. So start doing it now. I dare you. For the boots, I was gonna make boot covers. So at first I tried to find some shoes at the thrift store that would be good for this. I didn't find any high heel shoes, unfortunately, but I found these leather short boots that had a really nice shape and fit me. They fit me well. So I got those and I put them on. I made a tape pattern. I transferred that to paper, transferred that to fabric, and yeah, I cut that out, sewed it together. The bottom of the shoe was made from elastic fabric, so you could just put it on of the shoe, take it off whenever you need to. At this point, I also added an invisible zipper, which was really nice, but that was a mistake because I still needed to add the white part on top, which I added afterwards. So yeah, I made this bias tape again from the fabric and I sewed it on, and when I zipped it up, left a gap. The white part left a gap, which did not look good. So I had to take out the zipper. I had to buy another zipper because this one I already cut too short. But the store was out of invisible zippers. I was so frustrated, so I just got a regular zipper. It's no big deal, but I really wanted an invisible zipper. But it's okay. In the end, the boots came out amazing. They looked really, really nice. I'm really happy with them. For the staff, in every reference, once again, the staff looks a bit different, so I settled on this reference alone. I started by making a paper blueprint just to get the approximate size of everything. I got some PVC pipes. The base would be these two PVC pipes, one a little bit smaller in width than the other, so I could just put them on each other. I cut out the PVC in the appropriate lengths that I needed, and I had a really hard time figuring out what the balls in between would be made of. At first I thought, okay, it would be just like foam balls that you can buy at a craft store ready made, but the smallest ones were too big. But I still bought them, and I tried to make the holes with my hot wire cutter, and it did not look good. It did not work how I wanted it, and I was like, okay, a new plan. I figured, okay, I'll try making them from foam clay. I made some balls with aluminum foil and covered them with a bit of foam, and I made them dry. I put them to dry. Then I wanted to cut out the holes, and I was really surprised to find out that I could get the foil out of it, and they were already hollow, which is perfect. I needed them to be hollow. So I cut the rest of the holes. I spray painted those. I spray painted those PVC pipes, and they looked really good. I was really happy. The key details I made from insulation foam. I cut them out with my wire cutter. I bought the wire cutter actually like a few months back. This was my first time using it, and what a great investment. It is so much nicer to cut than with the box cutter. It still takes time. It's not super quick, but it was really good. It was really useful for this project. So I cut out the key details with the foam cutter. I sanded them down. I also made the heart piece on top from insulation foam. Cut that out, sanded it. It looked really nice. All the little balls were from foam clay. And also this part I made from insulation foam at first. When I started assembling it though, I had some problems. I tried to fix it with foam clay, but it was a disaster. It was so messy, so bumpy, lumpy, and oh my god, I tore it all off. I was like, nope, I do not know how to fix this. I will think about this tomorrow. And thankfully, with a fresh mind in the morning, I was like, wait, I can make that with EVA foam. So I took some EVA foam, I made the shape, I glued it together. I was like, yes, that looks nice. So I made it from that. I had to hide the seam with some foam clay because that's how I heard the cosplayers do it. And the seam was quite visible. Wasn't too happy with that, but I did not have any other options at this point. I was kind of running out of time again, but it was okay. It was okay. So then I painted all of the insulation foam pieces with acrylic, with like a million layers of acrylic paints, because if you know foam and insulation foam, you cannot directly spray paint because it will melt. Yeah, I've learned this the hard way, but now we know. So I was really paranoid. I think I definitely did like put on some 5 or 6 layers on all the pieces at least. So when I did that, then I spray painted them, and I prayed that they would not melt, and they didn't. They didn't melt. I spray painted them and they looked great. Then I assembled all of it. Also the big ball in the middle was made from foam clay around a big tinfoil ball. It wasn't perfectly round, but I think it worked. In the end, it looked nice. So I spray painted all of it with this chrome silver paint, which looked nice, but if you look at the reference, her staff is more like whitish silver. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I can't find the exact shade. But afterwards, I bought this paint sealant, this top coat, and I sprayed it, and all of the shine became like dull. And I was like, oh no, it's not shiny anymore. But then I was like, oh, wait a minute. It actually looks now more similar to what it's supposed to than it was before. So, wow, it magically worked out in my favor. But that is something you should keep in mind. So if you have something really shiny that you want to add a spray sealant or top coat on, do a test, because it might dull your color and you might not want that. For me, it worked out great this time, but you and me in the future also just make sure to have a test piece to see if you still get the same color finish that you want. And then when all the pieces dried, I glued them all together with hot glue and with super glue. I don't know why I thought that attaching the top piece with a few flimsy pieces of wire and hot glue would be enough for it to hold. And lo and behold, it was not enough. In the morning of our performance, we went to rehearsals. I had a scene where I had to throw my staff on the ground. It survived. One ball fell off. I glued that back in. But like the staff itself, it retained its integrity. And I was like, okay, it's nice. And what happens in the first 5 seconds that I go on the stage? What do you think? I'll let you guess. It broke. It broke. And I wasn't even swinging it around or anything. I wasn't even throwing it on the ground. I lifted it up. That is all that I did. And it cracked. And I was like, Oh. Oh my god, that was embarrassing. That was embarrassing, but hey, show must go on. I don't know why I attached it in such a dumb way. When everything, even the stage props, like I attached everything with PVC pipes. I still had PVC pipes that I could use. I don't know why I didn't do that. This was just so dumb. I don't know. But now I fixed it up. Now it has a PVC pipe. I can show you. Now it is actually sturdy. See? She's alive. She's sturdy. I can shake her and she's still on. Why didn't I do that before? I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. But anyways, I'm really happy with the staff. I think she turned out beautiful, even with all her flaws. So that was a success. The wings. So that was part of our transformation. My outfit didn't change a lot, but I got some wings and I looked up some references for wings. I found that I wanted to make this shape of wings, so I got some PVC pipes, I heated them up, I bent them, and yeah, I had this kind of shape. I don't know why. I thought that attaching feathers to wires would be the easiest and best way to do it. It wasn't. This was a really dumb way to do it. My friend simply got the feather material and just glued a sheet of that onto the wings, added the feathers onto that, and that looked great. I don't know what I was doing. I really don't know. It was a hassle. It kind of was see-through in the end, like the structure. Oh well. I think they turned out nice still, but yeah. Don't do that. I don't know why I did that. That was such a hassle. That was so unnecessary. But it's okay. The funniest thing about, like, if you've made wings for cosplay and, like, gone out in them or made content with them, I'm sure that you've gotten, like, such compliments on the wings. Like, wow, the wings, though. They look so good. Which is so funny. They do look good. They look impressive, but that was, like, one of the easiest things to make for this cosplay. Like, the gloves and skirt were harder to make than those wings. But people are like, wow, the wings. And I'm not complaining at all. Like, any compliment for my cosplay is like, thank you so much. But it's just funny. It's just a funny observation. My grandpa got me this wooden board, which we attached the PVC pipes to. And then the wings had PVC pipes that, like, slid in. And it was really secure. It was really nice. I cut out a hole on the leotard on top where the pipes would like peek through. And then I inserted the wings that way. And it was really good. It was very sturdy, very secure, and very simple to insert. Now, all of the accessories that I had, the choker star, the bow star, the skirt star, my key, belt, all of that I made from air dry clay. I should really retire air dry clay because it is not a strong material. That's what I had, that's what I've been used to using, and that's what I used. I mean, the pieces turned out nice, but for the keys, they broke a few times. I super glued them now and they're okay, but yeah, it's not the most sturdy thing. So I think for my next project, any kind of pieces like that, I will try to make from Fimo clay, because as far as I know, that is very sturdy. It is very pricey. It is much more pricey, but I cannot be working with air dry clay anymore. It is a pain. It is a pain, honestly. Like making all of these beads and like sanding all of these beads and coloring all the beads. I never want to make beads ever again. But like the keys, they turn out really cute. Like I'm really happy with the keys. But once again, like this one broke. I don't know if you can see, like it's been glued together. This one broke. This one broke at the very top. So it is not a strong material. Don't use it if you need sturdy pieces. But if you're in a pickle, if you need to make something quickly, just like for a video or just to go out, like it's good. It's cheap and it's good, but if you need like competitive pieces or like pieces that will last you, find something else. I don't know, resin. I will try Fimo clay. I've not tried that yet, but I think it's definitely more sturdy than this. So the wig. Ooh, Pluto has long hair. So I knew I had to make this wig as tangle proof as possible. I started out with crimping the whole wig. And it is really interesting. I've noticed many cosplayers either really hate crimped wigs or live and die by crimped wigs. I don't get the crimped wigs hate. Like, the texture doesn't bother me at all. Like, they become so much easier to style, and I think it's a great thing to do for your wigs. But if you don't like it, that's fine. Like, everyone has the right to their own opinion, especially in cosplaying. Like, come on, let's not bash each other over that. Everyone can do what they choose to do. So I crimped the whole wig. It definitely made it like way less prone to tangling. And another hack that I've heard is to put silicone spray on your wig. And if you don't know what silicone spray is, you literally use it on your car. Which is like, of course, cosplayers will find the most unconventional materials to use for their cosplays, but like, if it works, it works. And this sure did work. I tried to put it on as I was at the con, so I sprayed it onto the wig. At first I was kind of worried. The wig became like weirdly like heavy-ish, and like the hair clumped together. You know when your hair is like oily, like greasy, that it like clumps together. It was something like that. So I was like, oh no, that does not look good. But then I combed it through nicely, and like there was no problem. The wig, oh my god, it did not tangle. It did not tangle. On stage, it looked flawless. During the con, it looked flawless. To be fair, I did comb it a few times. I mean, if you have long wigs, you will have to comb them. You cannot imagine that there's some kind of magic life hack that will just make it impossible to tangle a wig. Wigs tangle. That's what happens. Please comb your wigs. Then they will be way less prone to tangling. Like, I have that wig even now. I will show you. Like, this is how she looks after a whole day of the con wearing it. And I simply combed it. I haven't straightened it. I haven't done anything. I simply combed it. Look at her. Look at her. There's no tangles. She's gorgeous. So yes, if you're wondering, crimping works, silicone spray works. It was beautiful. So the bangs, I just styled with some hairspray and with my hair dryer, and there's no special technique there. I just looked at the reference and tried to make some spikes to look, and it looked nice. The wig also came with a bun. Sailor Pluto has a cute little bun. I upgraded that a bit as well. I inserted a piece of foam inside it so that it's like nice and round and like stands up, and I fixed up the hair on it with hairspray, and like that was a really good base for a bun. You did not need a lot of work to make it work. But in the end, we did lose her. I don't know where, I don't know when, but she's lost somewhere around in the con, which is sad, but I don't know. The wig has a lot of hair. If I need a bun, I will make it someday. And for this cosplay, or rather for the performance, I made this big door. It's inspired by the time and space door where Sailor Pluto resides. So I wasn't too worried with making it like super pretty and beautiful and detailed, because it's just like a stage prop. We already had a screen in the background of the video, so that wasn't necessary. We just decided that a door would be nice, so I made that, and I made it stick together with a bunch of PVC pipes that I cut up, and yes, it worked really nice. Now it is time for the con. We have been accepted, we have been working our asses off, we're finally here. It's time for prejudging, and we go prejudging. Everything is nice, we show off our outfits, and then we just decide to walk around the con. It was my first time like wearing high heels for a long time, and oh my god, my feet were dying. They were so uncomfortable. I could only walk around a bit. We went outside to take some pictures, but after that I was like, I'm done. I put on some sneakers. I could not. I was really sad because I wanted to walk in the whole cosplay for like the whole day, but it was impossible. It was impossible. I could not do it. I could not do it. Yeah, I need some more training with high heels so that I can actually last a day in high heels at a con. So yes, we had prepared a performance. That went well, except for that. But we don't talk about that. But it went nice. It was fun. It was great. Thank you WinterCon staff, you're always there to help the cosplayers out. It is great to have you guys. So we performed, it was nice, and then it was time for the awards ceremony. We had applied actually to 2 international categories, I believe, and one of them was WCS, World Cosplay Summit. Now, if you know anything about World Cosplay Summit, it's like a huge deal. It's a huge deal. So we're sitting there. They name all the awards, all the number 1 and 2 and 3 spots, and all the other categories. Then they move on to international awards. They name all of them, and then WCS is last. And we're sitting there, honestly, not expecting anything at this point. So we sit, and then they announce that turns out only 2 performances applied to WCS. Ours and another one. And all of the awards have a winner and a runner-up. So they say, since there's only 1 winner and 1 runner-up, we will ask both of the performers to come up. And so the other people go up, and we're like, wait, us too? We go up there. And then they name our name, and we're like, huh? What is it? What is going on? What is going on? Like, we're going up on stage, and we are so confused. We're so confused. Like, what is going on here? So we're standing up on stage, and realization hits. Wait, we could potentially win? And potentially go to Japan? To the world's biggest cosplay championship thing? What? We have this hilarious image of us just like moments before they announce the winner, just in complete shock and terror. I cannot tell you, I don't think, like, that was one of the craziest moments in my whole life. I'm standing there, I'm about to like cry, because I was like, oh my god, what is going on? And they announced the winner, and it's not us. It's not us. We are the runners-up. But honestly, not sad, not distraught, not anything. I was still ecstatic to be on the stage with all of these other incredible cosplayers. I am so happy for the winners. Congratulations. So wow. We were on stage. We were runners up. Even though we were runners up by default kinda, I still think our cosplays were like really well made. I'm really proud of us. I think we did amazing. So being there as runner-ups was still like, it was amazing. It was such a validating feeling. It gave us such huge motivation to continue working, upgrade this cosplay, and work on something else. So yes, overall, this con and this cosplay was a great experience. So once again, huge shout out to Hinoko Cosplay on Instagram. Thank you for reaching out to me, for even asking to do something like this together. It was an amazing journey. It was incredible to work together with you. It really is a completely different feeling having someone else to work together with. Like, you cannot slack off as much as you usually want to. And I am a procrastinator. I have trouble working on stuff. But, you know, when you send each other like progress photos and videos, like really encourages you to, okay, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna work on the cosplay. So it was great. Huge shout out to her. Follow her on Instagram. She has amazing cosplays over there. And yes, I cannot wait for what I and we do next. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something from it. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Follow my Instagram. I do post on there more frequently than I do here. So if you're interested, consider checking it out. I'd be very happy. But for now, it's gonna be bye-bye. I don't know when I'm gonna return. Hopefully sooner than a year. But we'll see. No promises. Still, thank you. Have a good one.